Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode number 35 here in the Happy Space Prison. Today, we are going to be working on using our hydrogen rockets to conquer some more things in space. We have quite a few things left to do to finish out the achievements, and we're going to get to them right away. We did make a few changes in between episodes, mostly because I made a mistake at the end of last episode. I was thinking in my head that because we're trying to cool both of these um, window tile sections down to absolute zero, that if we just connect them, then when one of them's not being used to cool in here, it'll just help cool the other one. The problem is I'm only cooling this chamber down to minus 215, and this one I'm cooling all the way down to minus 260. So when these two were connected, the oxygen one needed some more cooling. Well, what happened is the cooling that was in here immediately rushed down in and tried to equalize, meaning that all of this balanced out with all of this, and all my liquid hydrogen turned back into gas hydrogen. So yeah, that was a problem. So I unhooked that. So now this is working again. It is keeping up with plenty with what I need because we're only running the 4 rockets. So we fill this back up before we need more. I'm going to send this rocket out again while we're here. Let's launch that. This is the rocket that's going all the way out to here to get more fullerene and stuff for us. So that one can go, and it will give us some more heat. I did some changes up down here to our bunker tile system and window tile system to transfer the heat down into our coolant system. Basically, I just set up some diamond tiles, or diamond temp shift plates, I should say. Actually, I think I'm making it out. I made them out of steel because I didn't want to waste the diamond, and I was just trying to test out to see if the steel would work. So basically, the temperature in these bunker tiles at the top connect up to the temp shift plates here, and I had to kind of move them around to make sure they weren't at a point where they would transfer the heat into the robominers. If the temp shift plate was like right here, it would also transfer into this building. So not what I want. So we got that to work now. So all of these things, all that heat that's going up the sides and into the bottom will get transferred in, and you can see the heat coming down. It's going in here. I doubled out the space in this room for steam turbines because there were points when if we just launched all 4 rockets, we had so much heat that these 5 were running constantly, and eventually they would keep the heat down, but I figured why not just put in more? We have the materials, let's do it. So we have lots and lots of heat in here being processed through our steam turbines. They're running and generating a lot, so we're recovering that heat. I also changed some things up down in here. Gotta do some sweeping because I just finished some work. I was having issues with the coolants in here fluctuating in temperature, and I determined that it was because these reservoirs were down in the coolant, and so that they were doing something funky. I don't know. I have to do some more testing, but putting them up like this has fixed it. The temp shift plates are fine. The building gets hot, but the building temperature doesn't affect the coolant temperature. But for some reason, sitting in the coolant down here does. I changed the petroleum is down in here into super coolant, a layer of that, because it will transfer the heat much better, keeping this room nice and evenly distributed with heat so that we can keep all the steam turbines running. Lastly, I swapped out the supercoolant in this loop. I think it should be done now. I got coolant going the whole way through, so I can stop bringing coolant up here. Let's put these to sweep only. We'll let that last one empty in to give us a little bit of an extra buffer, and then we'll reconnect this back up properly the way that we want it to go. So right now we were just emptying more coolant into the line. Now we can do that, and it will go through. So now that we're using super coolant, we're going down to minus 200 degrees, and everything will start flowing properly now that we're not loading onto the line. I changed this one out too, using a bridge, just so that we have some colder coolant going through here. Could have left that at petroleum, wouldn't have mattered, but I figured why not? We're already doing it here. I just took that petroleum and kind of dumped it into space because I have a ton of it. No sense in running a line to burn it off when we have plenty. So we've been doing a bunch of space missions. We have gone through, we've gotten the research done on, these are the 20,000 kilometer asteroids. We finished the 30,000. We have now finished, well, we're on the last one for these two so that we can do them. As we go through and we check off all the research, it shows us more about what we can get. So like now we can see all the things that are available at each of these places. And that'll help us to know where we can go for looking for a certain material. So we're going to continue to work our way up with 2 of our rockets. It takes 2 trips with each for each one because we have 4 research panels, at least for the distance we're going now. So these don't take too long because they're pretty close. We just sent these last 2 missions not too long ago. They only take about 10 cycles. The ones that are farther up take a lot longer. So we're going to keep working up. And this one is interesting because we're going to get to this one very shortly. And this one has our gassy moo. So gassy moo we need for our achievement. I don't think we're going to do anything too fancy with the gassy moos, like trying to get them to be, you know, tameable in the sense that we're going to use them for any resources. But we do need to get one back to our base so that we can tame it for the achievement. There's actually 2 achievements that require that. And then there's a few other ones that we need space things for. So we're going to work on getting the gassy moo first, and then we're going to take a look at our achievements and see what we can work on while we're doing that. So let's do that real quick just to take a look, because there are some I can work on right now while we're waiting for submissions to be done. And so I'm just going to look at those quick so we can knock as many out as we can in this episode. I'm hoping to get that we're pretty close to the end here. So as I said, Critter Whisperer, we need to get the gassy moo. We also need to tame a puffed and a shine bug. So we're going to work on that. Some reservations, we need to build 2 more reservations. Moving on up is the gassy moo and a husky moo. I guess that's new. I don't think I've ever heard of the husky moo. But I guess it's either one of those would probably trigger that achievement. That might be a new thing that was just added, because I don't remember that. Get a room. We have a couple more rooms to build. Down the hatch, we need to make some refined metal with smooth hatches and job suitability. As I've always said, this is the one that I really don't like doing. It'll be the last thing I do because it's a lot of micromanagement with the way the achievement works. I also went in and made a list in my Steam notepad here so that we can see what I need to do, so we don't have to keep checking. So this is what we do. So this here is, we want to make some thermium to play around with a magmaless heat exchanger. That's something I just want to play around with. I'm not going to go into too much detail in this, but that'll be the last thing we do after we finish all the achievements. But this is everything left in this playthrough. So we can go through and work through one at a time. So I'm going to work on getting some nature reserves built, getting a smooth hatch set up, and getting a puffed and a shine bug tamed, as well as getting a recreation room, a luxury barracks, and a greenhouse set up. We're going to do that while we wait for our rockets to come back and keep descending missions, because we have a lot more places to research. So I've gotten a couple things done. I tamed a puffed, which was really simple to do. I have plenty of puffs. I've been keeping them. So I just made a little room here that has a grooming station in it, and I tamed this guy. So we're done with that. We can leave that go. We're not worried about the puffs anymore. I also set up a feeder in the stone hatch room that is now feeding them copper, which means these guys are going to slowly get a higher chance of getting smooth hatch eggs. I have a incubator set up to make smooth hatch eggs so that we can start getting population going in here, and then they'll slowly eat the copper and turn it into, or the copper ore, and turn it into copper. So that's all but done. We just have to wait for it to get done. Problem with that I'm having is I need to tame a shine bug, and I don't know how long I kept shine bugs around. I kept them for a long time. I don't have them anymore. So the only option I have is to wait for the printing pod to give me another egg so that I can get one. But when I get it, I can move them over here and get them tamed, and that will finish that. Same thing here. I'm just going to use this room. When I get a gassy moo, I'll put him in here. He'll last long enough that he gets tamed. I'm not going to worry about keeping him alive and happy we just want to get the achievement done. The next thing I'm going to work on is the rooms. So if we take a look at our list, oops, my notes. That's not this. Notes. So we did the puffed. So let's remove that from our list. Ooh. It's going to mess up my whole thing. We'll just leave it there for now. Let's strike through it. That way we don't end up messing up all my formatting. We need to build 2 more nature reserves. Let's work on that one next. So, normally when I build nature reserves, I try to put them in places where they can actually help our duplicants out. But for this, I just want to get something where we can move them out. And so, because we have the new update, I did make a short about this, but I can show you a new method for making natural tiles. And we want to do it somewhere where there's no other plants around because we're going to use pips to do some planting. So we need 2 sections where we can have 4 plants. As you know from when we were planting pips before, it's difficult to get pips to plant unless you have enough spacing for all of the plants. So to do 4, we can do a 3 and then a 1 in 2 different rooms. For the room, this is the button I want. Nature reserve needs to be at least a 32 tile room. So what I'm going to do is just going to lay out a room here. We'll do them far over here. I don't want to have any plants nearby that might mess it up. So if we do like so, they're going to be 4 tall. We need to go 8 blocks. 2, 4, 6, 8. So that will be 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. So this will be another 8. And then we can close this off. But what we want is we want to have a space where we can put our plants in. So let's do 3 here, leave a gap of 3 and put 1. We'll do the same on this side. 3 here, leave a gap of 3 and put 1. So we're going to also want to put tiles underneath those spaces. And we'll go there as well. And all the way across here. We'll need some ladders for them to get up to the top of that so they can build the roof. These ladders are going to have to come out. So there's already a method that's been around for a long time where you can build natural tiles using the mechanized airlock. What has changed to make it a little bit more convenient, well, maybe not necessarily convenient, but just a nice thing to know as far as a trick goes, we want to have these all closed off kind of around. Actually, I don't want this door here for now because I want to be able to build it like that. We need the same here and over here. Let's get rid of these 2. Basically what I'm doing is I'm building out space so that I can have the building built around some doors. So we're going to go like that and like that. We're all set. So then we're going to put in a insulated door. That's a new thing. We can make it out of anything. So we have tons and tons of stone. So we'll make it out of that. And we're going to put one in each of these empty spaces. And once they get built, we can see how it works in order to turn those into natural tiles. So I'm going to let them quick build this out and then we'll check it out. So now that we got everything built this way, we can just go through and we're going to deconstruct these insulated doors. So this trick works where if you have a door, it has to be a mechanized airlock or now an insulated door, and you have all 7 tiles like this surrounding them, when you deconstruct the door, it turns into a natural tile. The advantage of using the insulated door is that when you're using a mechanized airlock, you need 400 of one of these metals, which are kind of rare or more expensive. Insulated doors, all I need to do is use 2 reed fiber, which typically are not hard to come by, and then 800 stone. And in most cases, you get the reed fiber back, at least one of them. Sometimes you get a reed fiber trapped inside, which is fine. So for us, we need one here. We need another one right here. So what we're going to do is put that there and put 2 more tiles above. And then we'll put another door in between, and then we can make another natural tile there. So once that's done, we can bring a pip over here, plant like we've always done in the past, and we'll easily be able to make our nature reserves without having to spend a bunch of metal. It wouldn't have mattered for this build because I can just deconstruct it when we're done and we've gotten the achievement. but I just wanted to demonstrate it while we were here because it's kind of cool being able to do it with igneous rock instead of wasting metal. I had to tweak it a little bit because even though I've been doing this for a long time, I always forget about how pips work. I needed a little more space between this side and this side. So I moved it, got it fixed. I am waiting for this last plant to be planted because pips are annoying, and that's what they make you do. But as soon as this one gets planted, this park here will turn from a park into a nature reserve, just like this one over here. Here he goes, and that will finish our 4th nature reserve, which will give us a colony achievement. So one more off of the list, which is great. So let's check out our checklist. This is now done. Can strike that one out. Now we still have our shine bug that we're waiting to come in, but the next thing we can do is work on building a recreation room, a luxury barracks, and a greenhouse. And again, just like the nature reserves, normally I would build these for a purpose, but I don't have a purpose, so I'm just going to build them to get them done. I'm continuing to check the printing pod every time it comes up so that I can hopefully get a shine bug egg. Oh, actually, I have a shine bug right here. I knew I still had one around somewhere. That's great. Move him down into this room, and we will get him tamed. While we're doing that, let's get our rooms done. So first, let's do the first one first. That's a luxury barracks. So a luxury barracks needs to be between 12 and 64 tiles. It has to have a comfy bed, and it has to have a decoration building. So let's make a room. So we're going to just do a room here. It needs to be between 12 and 16. I know this room will be 32, or 12, between 12 and 64. I know this will be 32 because it's the same size as the nature reserve I just built. So let's do that. We need to have a comfy bed inside. Comfy bed. And we need a decoration. I think just having these in will do it, but let's just throw in some sculptures anyway, just to do it. So I think the only difference between a luxury barracks and a private bedroom is that the private bedroom has a back wall. Luxury barracks doesn't need that. So I think that this should work because this is basically a private bedroom without the back wall. If that works, that'll give us that room. We also need to build a recreation room. Recreation room needs to be between 12 and 96. It has to have a recreation building and a decor building. So let's do the same thing. We'll make it the same size as this room and just keep it nice and neat. Recreation building. Let's go and check out our furniture. Let's do something. We're not going to actually even run it, but let's put an arcade cabinet in the middle. And then we'll do some paintings. And we'll also do some sculptures, because why not? Make it look nice and pretty. Get that room going. So this room, oh, we still need to get it finished being built. So now we have a luxury barracks. So we wouldn't even need to finish up the rest of that, but let's just let them go do their thing. When we get this room finished, this should complete it for a recreation room. And I forgot the third building we need to make. It is a greenhouse. So for a greenhouse, we basically just need to have plants in the room and a, let's see, greenhouse just needs to have crops grown with a greenhouse can be turned with a farm station. So it has to be between 12 and 96 and have a farm station. So let's go to stations. Let's go to farm station. And let's see if we can get away with just putting it in here and getting rid of this sign and see if that farm station will count, since there's technically crops in there. They're not crops that we could actually do anything with, but I think that it might trigger it to become a greenhouse because the farm station is in there. So let's find out. We're going to let them finish building all these and hopefully that will finish out in another achievement. All right, farm station did in fact turn this into a greenhouse, so that was pretty easy. We already had the room built, so it works fine for that. We have a recreation room in here, but we haven't turned any of these into actual decor items because they haven't actually been finished. So I just need my artist to come in here and finish up one of these, and we should have a recreation room when that's done. Nisbet is doing her thing and making us a portrait in here, or canvas in here. So once that's done, I'm hoping that should be all we need in order to turn this room into a recreation room. Let's see what happens. It sure does, and that finishes out yet another achievement for us. So let's check that out. We're done with get a room. We can check that off. Finish that. We'll strike it out. So what we're working on now is the shine bug and the smooth hatches. So let's check on them, see how we're doing with that. So I did move the shine bug down here. I'm gonna just take this guy out of here, and we'll sweep up this egg too, so that we can clear this room out. I just want somebody in here handling the shine bug. So this has high priority. Somebody, as soon as they're available, should come in here, tame this guy up. It'll take a couple cycles to get that done. As far as our smooth hatches, let's see. Our stone hatches are now at a 34% chance of giving me smooth hatch eggs. So we just need to keep on feeding them copper so that they can do that. We do have one egg here. I need to switch this. So this is smooth hatchings, stone hatchlings. Don't have a smooth hatch option yet because we haven't actually grown one to adulthood, but the smooth hatchlings will come out as soon as this one is done growing, and we'll put them in there, and that'll get that achievement started. Pretty much that's just a matter of time, letting them chow down on the copper and turning it into refined metal, and then that'll be done. So we're at the point where pretty much we need to get the gassy moo, we need to do job suitability, and then we are done with all of the achievements other than the main achievements. So let's check on our rockets while we're waiting for these things to get finished. I have been resending them out as they come. These two I have finished doing all the research for. I sent both of my rockets that are set up for 40,000 kilometers to go here. So when they both go and come back, they will have finished all of this research, and we can move up to the 50,000 kilometers. We'll have to reconfigure our fuel for that. Also, we have two rockets going out here. They're currently in 25% and 32% of the way done with it. They've been going there because I wanted a lot of fullerene to make supercoolant. I now have 3 tanks of supercoolant, and I have a bunch of extra fullerene. So we're going to reconfigure them to go to a new location out here. After that, we're probably going to look and see what is the most interesting thing for us to get from any of these these far destinations. I'm not quite sure. Fossil might be nice because we could use it to make more steel, but we've been running steel for quite some time since we have been doing things, and we're over 200 tons of steel, so I don't even really need that. So we might take a look, see if there's anything that we are low on, something interesting, or we might just put them to, we might reconfigure the rockets on this side to help with the research goal of getting all of them researched. It's not necessary to do that, to research all of the star map, but I kind of want to do it. If we're going to finish out the base game, let's finish it out right. So we only have a few things left to do. I think we may be able to get all of the achievements done in the next episode and maybe make it a finale. But I might also take an episode, like I said, to work on messing around using a thermium system to make a new petroleum boiler, because we are running out of heat down here. The magma is slowly getting tapped completely. We still have a lot of heat in the rock that would keep this going for a while, and it wouldn't be necessary for us to do it for this playthrough, because frankly, we could probably get away with using other power sources. We have a decent amount of solar. We don't have huge power requirements on this map, but I kind of want to mess around with it. So I might take an episode to do that too, or I might do that after we finish the achievements as just kind of a bonus, where now that we have finished doing things, we might do some late game stuff just for fun. I'm not sure. I'll think about that between now and the next episode. But for now, I'm going to let this go. We have our shine bug is in process. So let's check him out. He has been groomed. So he's halfway through. One more cycle, he'll be down to being completely groomed, and our smooth hatches are in progress. So we just need to get enough of them and get them into making refined metal. Oh, we also need to work on job suitability, which we're going to do in the next episode, because that I want to kind of think about how the best way to do it. The problem with job suitability, if we take a look at our achievements, is that we need to get all of our duplicants doing tasks. So we have 16 duplicants, and you can see we've gotten 13 out of 16 this cycle to do it already. So it wouldn't be too hard to figure out which ones haven't done it and get them to do it. There's some other tricks we could do to make it work better, but the issue with the achievement, if it still is the same problem I've had before, is that there's only certain things that count as tasks. So I'm going to probably look and see if there's been any changes to it. If there's any tricks on how I can do it easier, because I've done it before and I really don't want to spend a lot of time tediously working on it. I also kind of need to do some work in here, redesigning, because this monstrosity of a build that I've done keeps breaking. I keep having pressure breaking out tiles, and it's causing me issues. It's just no fun. So it's okay. I have so much water that it doesn't even need to work anymore, to be honest. But some things I could work on if I wanted to. I could redesign this for a late game system, but probably won't do that. So in the next episode, we will finish out job suitability. We will hopefully get our gassing move back and finish out that achievement. And then we can work on our final 2 achievements for finishing out the game. And we can continue on with our researching the whole star map. And then we're pretty much going to be done with this playthrough, and we can move on to our next one. So hope you guys enjoyed watching. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.